the fight seemed to be more focused at the start on Selene and Ignia. I mean, that's what the obvious was at the time when we saw the match going up in the previous chapter, chapter 106. But as of 107, I mean, I do not see it structured that way. It really just seems way more set for that END versus Ignia fight. And I think Mishima has been setting it up to be that big battle and to give Natsu that large scene of actually getting to flex how powerful he is and then the untapped potential that he has, but also to show Ignia that level and to see his response and to see how these two characters are going to be stacking up against each other. The strangeness of it is in the next chapter, there's not a lot of avenues I think otherwise things could go down, because if Ignia is not immediately confronted by somebody that can actually stop him, then he's going to execute Selene, and then he's going to just eradicate everybody within the general area. And with Natsu's response, I feel like a seeing red snapping point where he just goes into an absolute state of frenzy is the most logical conclusion to what happened. Like, after seeing him with very, very clear PTSD and issues over what had happened and over what happened with, Ignia and Acnologia, it's looking rough. It's looking like a spot where he's going to need to really hold everything about himself together in order to pretty much just even maintain any shred of his sanity. Because I think after this, he's going just to be wanting to eradicate Ignia. Like, I don't see any other way around it other than just wanting to burn him alive and reduce everything about him to cinders. Because with what we got in the last chapter, he's got to be unhinged. Like, this is just one of those times where I don't think there's any real way for Natsu to respond further other than to become that monster. Because otherwise, how would anyone stop Ignia? How is anything going to occur that is going to keep him from just continuing what he's doing? And granted, Selene taking an L. Like, Selene in this fight definitely was at a loss. And I knew the second one of them found an opening, that was going to be a deciding factor, because we knew that these two going into the fight, they knew how strong the other one was. They were clearly going in it with far more ferocity than we've seen, especially from Selene. We know that Selene was fighting Suzaku, and the whole time we know that she wasn't even really trying. And the second she got to Georg, she said, "Nope, I'm going dragon form. I'm smashing him." So these two just going right into their dragon status and attacking each other in this fight that was in 107 just says okay, yeah, they're serious about it. They are out for blood. They want to kill each other and they want to rip each other apart. So when you look at that, it's okay, well, because of Natsu stopping the fight and stuff and Ignia taking an opportunity, yes, he absolutely took that portion of the fight. But beyond that, when you look at the two and you see one where they're at, and you see where they're at physically, and see where they're at kind of more mentally. It's Ignia has way more of that end game big boss position. So one, it would make more sense for him to have the kind of higher standing in this fight. And it's not like he just walked in and embodied Selene. There was the obvious fact that Selene was horrendously not paying attention to it, or at least in that fraction of a second, giving him that opportunity. And my only thing with that is, as long as she doesn't die, I won't care. If she, she recovers from this and is able to come back, that's what I'll care more about. I'll be fine with it. If she had to, take a distracted L in order to bring us a END scene, seeing him and Ignia fight each other, that definitely is worth it. But she definitely needs to live. And we know that dragon bodies are different than pretty much anything else in the series, and their bodies can just regrow organs to replace ones that have been damaged or no longer functional. So I would assume that she's going to be fine. I would assume that she's going to be able to be back on her feet and pretty much just be back to doing whatever she's doing within the next, probably following this arc. Because it would be really upsetting to see her lose here. Mainly because we haven't gotten nearly as much stuff from Selene as I think we should. There's a lot of things behind her that we haven't even really touched more. And like the fact that she has these dragon children. We know Kronugi's dead, but like, what about the other ones? Are the other ones alive? Say, like, if Diablos and Fairy Tail team up after this, the logical next step for Selene would be to get her children and have these dragon bosses, and then you would actually just have straight dragon antagonists up and coming, and I think that would be amazing. But for now, Selene obviously is just looking pretty ragged. I think in the next chapter, the only thing I want out of her is to see her escape, because otherwise, like, what exactly is going to be the go-to for her? I don't imagine Wendy's going to try and heal her, because why would she? Like, there would have to be like some form of very specific moment that would make her want to actually help Selene and want to do anything actually in it, like anything that is beneficial to her. Just because Selene is obviously such a dangerous individual, she isn't at that point where Igni is at. Like, when you look at all the dragon gods, Viren is still in the question mark. If you look at all of them and look at their activities and see what they've done and accomplished, the one that is the most kind of questionable and wondering like where things are is Selene, I would say, because Selene's the one that we know like the least about in towards of her position. Like, it's very easy to understand like where Mercephobia was after obviously like meeting Caramel. Alderaan never changed, and Ignia, you can tell like a lot of the stuff happened because of Acnologian's dad. And there's definitely parts that kind of play into that too, where you see a little bit of his reaction. You see what I believe is like his deeper feelings over events with Igneel. But Selene is like very weird because of how much like backstory I think we need to know, like her more complex situation and her standing. But Ignia, I mean, Ignia in this next chapter, man, I just can't wait to see his reactions, because if Natsu goes E&D, like, Igni is just going to be happy. He's going to have a great time, and he's going to want to just enjoy the fight, enjoy the chaos, and see where things are going to go. But I mean, that's mostly, the chapter was pretty short in terms of, like, reading, because it was mostly an action chapter, and I imagine that's going to be very similar to next chapter, probably a lot more choreography and battle stuff, and less outright like lore, because I was hoping for some lore stuff between Iggy and Selene, but we didn't have that conversation. So it would really depend on like what's going on that Selene would even want to give out any form more of information towards events. Anyway, other than that, comment below, thumbs up the video, a friend, like button, subscribe button, check out my other videos. And I appreciate you already subscribing. Thank you all for listening. Bye.